Alright guys, welcome back to Valorant News, and we do have an emergency video for you all this evening. Loads of big updates happening this afternoon. Aspas confirming that he's going to be gone from Loud. Sentinels may well have locked in their new in-game leader. And also some updates on what's going on at Cloud9. Vanity returning after all the drama of the last few months. What's going on at the moment? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Now the first big thing that we did mention of course earlier today was what's happening at Fnatic with Mini being removed from the global contract database. People were thinking, why haven't they extended his deal? And, you know, it would be a massive surprise for Fnatic to get rid of him. Now, that's not what's happening, though. Mini is actually deciding to step down from his role. As Fnatic say here, following the outstanding achievements, Mini has made the personal decision to step down from the head coach position. This comes amid lots of other coach drama, especially on the MCE side of what's happening at Cloud9. As he says, this decision has come after careful consideration from Mini to explore options for a better work-life balance, and is one in which we support in full. We are in still active discussions with Mini to see if he can figure out a new role within the coaching team, but we will now need a new head coach. This is remarkable stuff, and, you know, real credit to Mini for realizing the direction that he wants to take his life, because it must be very challenging being, you know, considered to be one of the best coaches in the world on what was the best team in the world for pretty much the entire season, to actually decide, you know what, I want to be more Jacob Harris than I do Mini, and don't want to be switched on to Valorant 24/7. Now he's hoping he can find another role where there's a more suitable future that he sees. I don't think Mini thinks this is necessarily like a Fnatic specific thing, that he's grinding 24 hours of the day, but I guess he just wants a slightly different role where he doesn't have to be always thinking about Valorant, which I totally understand. So as he says, you know, more interested in assistant coaching or potentially general managing or other roles if that makes sense. But yeah, stepping away from Fnatic, so a big decision for a guy like Mini to do given the circumstances, but obviously wishing the best for him going forwards. He comes up with a pretty funny job offer that he got here in the DM straight away, but this will mean that Fnatic needs a new coach, and maybe there's a chance for Mini to go somewhere else to either be the head coach that has, you know, his theory is maybe assistant coach or GM, less hands-on all the time, less maybe time commitment in terms of sitting there watching scrims all day. You know, I get it for sure. So that's going to be interesting to see how that one develops, but potentially a very good catch for some other team. And as Fnatic Kojo says, the plan is new head coach. If you guys want to reply, this is the email to get in contact with going forwards. Vitality as well have reached a deal, it seems, with Estonian player Kicks. You might be joining them. But the other big one that I want to, well, there's a few big ones really this afternoon. This, though, is a mega one of the Loud side. We talked about this earlier today, that Aspas, every time Flynn came out with his spreadsheet, he was looking less and less likely to stay, no pun intended, with his teammate, of course, on Loud. And this was talked about right by Rod/Breslau a little while ago, that he said, I mean, he made a few hot takes in the early part of Champions, that TENS was going to be off Sentinels, 90 to 95% chance, whatever he said, and that Aspas was going to be gone from Loud, and there was drama there was friction there, and look, TENS is staying. We know that to be true now, it's been confirmed. The Loud stuff, though, Aspas is now gone. The precise reasons why, it's difficult to precisely say. The belief was, going into Champions, there was some friction there between Aspas and Les and some of their styles on the team. Aspas wasn't willing to practice with those guys before Champions going back to Brazil. He stayed in LA, or stayed around California, I believe. So the theory was that after Champions, regardless of what happened, unless maybe they won it, they were going to make a change, break apart. Even Sadak was recently linked to NRG. No guarantees that happens, but nonetheless it's possible. So he comes up with a video here kind of just discussing the situation. Effectively his contract is at an end, and we heard rumours from Slasher that Loud were trying to re-sign these players on what the players considered, or at least Aspas considered, to be a rather questionable deal, where Loud would have a lot of control over, you know, maybe not even pay them that much money, but also have all the control over how much, you know, potential sponsorships that were coming in. Loud wanted to facilitate those. maybe Aspas wasn't so happy with that, and therefore with his contract at an end, he's decided not to enter into further negotiations and is now considering other proposals. I can speak English and I can speak Portuguese. Now, the team that he was linked to was Bleed Esports in the Pacific region, a new team that's just come into franchising, having won Ascension with a lot of money to burn, it seems, and Aspas has been linked over there. There's definitely alternatives, and let's not forget that a few weeks ago we were talking about the possibility of Aspas to Sentinels, just because with Sassy Pancada, Aspas coming in might have made sense instead of Tens, but Tens is now staying. So where does that leave Aspas? Where does that leave Loud as well? What will they do instead? More than likely, they are going to get this guy Havoc. This is the guy they played with in place of Aspas, apparently, in their practice for the World Championship while he wasn't there. And he's one of the star players of the Union for some time. So apparently he's a very promising player that they will potentially look to get instead. Will they keep all of the other players? That's a question. Will Sadat go to NRG or something? Because they probably need an in-game leader as it stands, with Valin staying on Ex-Fnatic at G2, Johnqt going to Sentinels, FNS nowhere to be found right now, and Xander maybe to 100 Thieves. You know, NRG are going to need an IGL, so there's still options on the table for that one. But this is the talking point now on Sentinels, with Johnqt. Supposedly, he's going to be the man. We talked about this, again, during Champions, when Sentinels were frying everyone in scrims. Like, they didn't lose they lost some rounds, but they barely lost a map of scrims against Paper X, Evil Geniuses, Fnatic, like Loud. Sentinels played these teams to help practice during Champs, and Sentinels were either winning most maps or being very competitive against these clearly very good teams that made the distance in the tournament. We didn't know. We were pretty sure the team was Tens, Sassy, Pancada, Zekken, plus an IGL. The initial rumour was FNS, but then FNS said, no, it wasn't me. And then it was like, all right, is it Valin or is it Johnqt of M80? And the rumour is today that this is a done deal. At least a verbal agreement is in place. The contract might not be officially signed yet, but this is now almost guaranteed to be happening, because M80 later in the day officially release Johnqt and say thanks for your service for the team, and we can't wait to see what you achieve next. So I wonder where he could possibly be going. So this might be announced imminently, like tonight or tomorrow. We don't really know. But yeah, this seems to be the thing. And honestly, this makes a lot of sense, right? Because as people have been pointing out, to be honest, in terms of the role department, it makes more sense in their previous team. The idea that Pancada wasn't really on the controller because Marved was there and he was IGLing, it just didn't fully make sense. But even with Marved and the team being a little bit dysfunctional, and Marved having to IGL where he's not necessarily super proficient in that role, the team was still pretty good for a while there. Like, they showed some promise, and they know what they're doing with each other. They've got some experience now playing with each other. Zekken, Tens, of course, all phenomenal players, all of these guys. There was just a question whether the Brazilian players would want to go back to Brazil or join another team, but they probably think, you know what, do I join Furia or do I stay on Sentinels? What's my best chance to win? They probably think the latter of those two options. And Johnqt coming in as a Sentinel player, the roles make more sense. Clearly a very solid in-game leader, what he achieved with M80 over the past season or so, and, you know, got all the firepower at his deployment in the roles they prefer. So if that's the Sentinels team, I think they've done a pretty damn good job. Now let's talk about Cloud9 before we close out here, because Vanity says we're back. He's signed the deal. Where is it going to be? Apparently it's Cloud9 again. It seems to me there was clearly some drama between MCE and Vanity himself. Because let's not forget, Vanity was on this theoretical super team at the start of this most recent season on Cloud9. They then dropped him along with Ye, which was controversial at the time and continues that way to this day. MCE was clearly part of the decision-making process there. We don't really know what went down. Vanity went to Shopify, didn't he, briefly? He went to Tier 2 anyway, and now he's back. So they added him, they dropped him, and now he's back again. And as Flynn says, that all the players that MCE, the coach, was bringing on as trials have now been cut. So someone over at that team didn't like the direction they were going with Screwface, BCJ, Nature, whoever they were trialing. We'll get back to Oxy in a second. But apparently a lot of the players that they were trialing, including BCJ, have been cut by, at least out of the trials, as has the coach himself. So I don't exactly know what it is, but it's almost like they've chosen Vanity over MCE, right? Because you know, probably MC and Vanity don't especially get on after what happened at the start of the season. So you're then thinking that, well, someone at Cloud9 decided that they want to get Vanity back as their in-game leader, and therefore, to make that happen, MCE's got to go. Alongside Vanity, though, is supposedly Oxy, and the current theory is it's going to be Jake, Zeppa is going to stay, Leaf we don't know right now. The belief is that Leaf might go to G2 with the guard guys in place of Tex. That's kind of the current rumor. But Oxy coming in, to me, is a dub. Like, I know that some people were saying, and for good reason, like, would be nice to see what MCE could get out of Oxy, because I think Oxy's a really promising player and has potentially a really bright future ahead of him with good leadership and good coaching. And maybe they won't have that so much, but they might have good leadership, right? Bringing Vanity back is crazy, but I think it's a good sign, to be honest. Now, the thing is, for poor Vanity, is what if he joins this team and within a couple of months he gets dropped for a rookie in-game leader again and he's absolutely fuming, which is what happened with Rooney. But, you know, as you can see here, then the question is, like, what happens with Ye? Because, you know, now Vanity is back in the team. You got to wonder whether there's a chance there for Ye to come along as well. So, yeah, the last few months of Cloud9 have been a bit of a fever dream, to be honest, and they might have themselves a decision being made. Zellsis has also signed a deal, but we don't know where. So this is pretty much where we are at the moment. I just wanted to give you guys a brief enough update video this evening on what's been happening today. The Loud Aspas stuff, well, no longer Loud Aspas, the Cloud9 situation, the Sentinel situation, and plenty more to come. So thanks for all the new subscribers earlier today. Got the 51,000 subs. We are killing it, over halfway there to the big one. Get another one of these up behind me, which would be nice to have. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new as always. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.